All right, people, welcome to Peeps Creek, the cafe where we serve you delightful, slightly intense, but definitely worthwhile conversations. A podcast focused on bringing people together by drinking, listening, and conversing. So grab your favorite drink and let's see what's on today's menu. All right, people, welcome to Peeps Creek, the first episode of 2025. All right, so I am, of course, Sean, boom, 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 the one and only. And I am joined today by Denise. Say hello, Miss Denise.
Hello, good morning, right? Is it still morning? Good morning.
It is. Good morning. All right. So I want to first say Happy New Year to you. So cheers. Happy New Year
Happy New
over
Year.
there. I don't know what you're drinking on over there, but
My,
um, well,
my back.
your fake background is preventing
My new house because I moved.
it's preventing you from seeing the cup. But cheers to you.
Cheers to you too.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So, before we begin on the topic, let me tell you a very quick s- story. I think it's funny, but I felt kind of bad.
Mhm.
Okay. So, yesterday, I went to sleep. Ooh, right after we talked. So, maybe around 9:30. Fell asleep. I thought I was going to play the video game, but I just happened to knock out. But I noticed Fats was not around. I was like, where the fuck is he? Like, why is he hiding? Fats, for those of you who don't know, that's my cat. Like, why is he hiding? So I woke up this morning around 5:30, 5:45, laid on the because I fell asleep on the couch, laid on the couch, stayed on the couch. And I kept hearing this whining. And I'm like, wait, that sounds familiar. So I go upstairs and you know where he's at?
You locked him in a room.
Mm-mm. He was on the back porch. And obviously, he was on the back porch even way before that because I took Pinter out earlier that day around 7. So you know how when you open the door, he kind of sneaks out there sometimes? So he literally was out on the back porch in the cold from at least 7 p.m. until this morning, almost 12
Oh my
hours.
God, is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. The hell. But when he came in, he looked at me like, bitch, what the fuck?
That is not funny.
I know. I felt so bad, so I just was like cuddling with him as I was reading because I got up this morning and just started reading because I'm reading this book called Silo, which is a Apple TV Plus series. I found it through there. I binge watched the first season, and now I think the second season I'm done. I don't know if there's going to be new, so I started reading the book. The book is very good. But that's one thing I want to do this year. You know, I read a lot, but my goal this year is to read 2 times the amount of books that I read last year. Do you have one
Nice.
goal for New Year? For the new year?
Not really. I just want to take like better care of my health. Um, but not really. No, I stopped doing resolutions or like stuff like that for years
Yeah.
now.
It's
I
not really
never
a
did them.
resolution for me. I just like to read and I'm trying to force myself to do things that I really, really enjoy doing, and reading is one of them. So, yeah. Okay. So let's get to today's episode. Today's episode, episode 91, is Parenting Is It Over Yet? And so we did an episode that was episode 78, which was released on June 15th, 2023.
Oh
Mm,
wow.
it was a while ago. Yeah. And we kind of talked about the struggles of co-parenting and how we kind of put those things together, put uh, put aside our own differences and what have you so that we can co-parent. Okay. So now what what I want to talk about is, when does parenting end? Or
Never.
does it end? And so, okay, so here's something that I want to ask you first on to start off this topic. Do you think parenting is something that is innate, meaning that you it's naturally in you whenever you have a kid, or is it something that you kind of learned through the concept of trial by fire?
Both.
Okay, and why?
I just feel like some people you know, are born to be parents. But then there's people that just learn as, I'll give you an example.
Okay, go
My
ahead.
sister never wanted kids.
Mhm.
Never. Like she just knew it that is something she didn't want. It was not something that was in her, and she ended up having a baby and great mom. You know what I mean? So I think that it wasn't something that was she wasn't born wanting to be a parent, but you know, she has this baby now, so
But wanting to be a parent and not wanting to be a parent, I think is two different things. But before we go there, is it the one that I didn't like for a long period of time, but now I'm cool with?
well, I don't know if y'all cool. Y'all may think y'all cool with each other, but yes.
I mean, I'm fine with her. I don't care what you think about me, but
Yeah, we
I'm,
don't we don't talk about this. So honestly, I don't know,
I
but
don't really
I'm just
care.
messing with you.
But I think there's a difference from not wanting a kid and wanting a kid, but that doesn't necessarily equate to parenting. I think. I think we can have different perspectives, but you know, I was reading this article that says being a parent is a noun and a verb, and I never really thought about it in that way, right? So the noun concept is I'm a mom, I'm a dad, right? Whereas the verb is parent in the sense of providing, nurturing, educating and grooming an individual who you bring into the world to be another contributing human being in the society in which we live. And I never really thought about parenting or being a parent in that sense, right? I thought about the parent of I'm the fucking dad, right? And so now it's my responsibility to do X, Y, and Z. Now, granted, I've talked about this on multiple episodes. Um, I've grew up in a one parent household, right? My biological father was never around. My mom never said anything negative about him in front of me at that time, ever. Never. I never sensed anything, when he would call, she didn't do any kind of body language that would make me think, okay, this is some bullshit, right? But, since I came to that point, then I started asking questions. And even when I started asking questions, she wasn't very open about things because she didn't want me to, I guess she didn't want to taint my perspective of that. So that's that, so for me, I say all that to say is that I didn't know what it meant to be a father when I had Davion. But what I did know is that I wanted to be better than what example I had available to me. Right. And so I'm not sure that's necessarily, and I say all that to say, I'm not necessarily sure that it was innate for me to be a parent, more so than learning the process of the fact that I know what I didn't like, I know what I didn't want to present, and so I need to do something different than what my experience was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Go ahead, because
No, it does.
you thinking.
I am. I'm only thinking about what you mentioned because, have you thought of the fact that how was his upbringing? Maybe it was the same as yours. He didn't have, that father figure and just did not know how to be a dad to you, you
Yeah, so
know?
I thought about that, and my cousins, one of my cousins, kind of harp upon that. But honestly, in my perspective, I don't give a fuck what your upbringing was, because here's the bottom line: I didn't have that upbringing, but I made a conscientious decision not to bring someone that I brought into the world to experience the same thing that I experienced. So
Yeah, but you
for me, if I'm able to do that at 22, let's be real now. We were 22 when we had Davion. If I'm able to do that, and there's scientific evidence to say that I forgot what that's called, but this frontal thing, right? It doesn't really truly develop to make you an adult until you like 24, 25. If I'm able to make that conscientious decision at 22, why couldn't you make it?
it's not the same. I have a problem when people say that. When people say, "If I did it, why can't you?" We are not the same. We are
We're not.
humans.
We are.
So you can't
We
sit
are.
there and say, I mean, I respect whatever it is that whatever relationship you have with your dad and whatnot. But
None. But go ahead.
but I just feel like, you can't sit there and say if I made this decision when I was 22 because for one, you may have been brought up by your mom way differently than how your grandma may have brought him up. Like it's
Yeah, but
not the
knowing
same.
my grandma, I don't agree. I mean,
I mean,
yes,
your grandma was the best.
I wasn't born when he was young, and I get that. Okay, so I hear what you well, I hear what you're saying.
You need to find it in your heart to forgive.
No,
That's the bottom line.
I'm good. No, I'm good. I don't need to forgive shit. I have forgiven. Do I need to forget? No, right?
I didn't
But
say forget because that's something you will never be able to
I'm
forget.
good. I'm good.
Not
I'm
it. I
forgiven.
want you look when you edit this video. I want you to see your
I'm not editing this video. I'm putting it
your
out just the way
body.
it is. I know
Well,
because I forgive. That doesn't mean that I've forgotten. And
you haven't forgiven.
yeah, I've forgiven. That doesn't mean that it doesn't make me angry because I remember the situation. Maybe I haven't forgiven. You know what? Actually, I haven't forgiven. And quite frankly, I'm not in the mood to forgive him. So, how about that?
I know.
That's an
Trust me.
honest moment in 2025. That's an honest moment in 2025. And let me tell you why. I know we're talking about
I'm proud
parenting,
of
right?
you. I'm
No, no,
proud
no.
of you for admitting.
No, this is an honest moment because this goes to the point. Is parenting ever over? Which you said no, which I agree, right? The thing is, I have gone home. I have been in his presence as an adult, and not once has he tried to have the conversation about, you know what, I wasn't there. Let me tell you why. Or, you know, how does it feel? What can we do to mend this relationship? I this is one fundamental principle that I think I'm never going to budge on. It is not incumbent upon the child to initiate the relationship. And I have no obligation to mend that relationship because there was never a relationship because he chose not to have one. And the only reason, and this is just me being honest, the 2025, the only reason I had a interaction or interacted with him was because of my grandma, but she's no longer here. So that glue that had us together is no longer there for me. Period. Point blank. Period. The end. So, I love my aunties. I love my cousins. But do I fuck with him? The answer is no.
But then I mean, I'm not trying to fix your relationship, but we're on
Not
the
not
topic
you
of
trying to be
parenting.
not you trying to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Yana. Don't
But
fix my life, baby. Mm-mm.
listen. But we're talking about parenting,
I
and
know.
this is a great conversation. But let's admit that you are very vocal about how you feel about him. I remember going to Detroit with you,
Mhm,
seeing him, and
mhm,
seeing how you interacted with him.
mhm,
You know, you have individuals who can put that aside and say, I'm going to have a conversation with my child because this is my son and I owe him an apology and I owe him to mend our relationship. But you have individuals that are not strong enough to do that. And when I saw him, I don't think he is that individual that is strong enough to admit that he was wrong and want to, because he knows how you feel. You are very vocal about how you feel. You've let
mhm,
your aunties know about how you feel. You will let your grandma know because I was there when you would tell her.
mhm,
So nobody wants to. I mean, I'm not saying nobody, right? But if it was me, I wouldn't want to hear all you're gonna say because you're gonna go off on me. I'm not ready
mhm.
for that.
Well, yeah, okay. So we ain't gonna fix that situation. That situation ain't gonna be fixed. But okay, I can agree. I can agree that I could be aggressive about things that I'm very passionate about. I can agree with
Mhm.
that. I can agree that I can come off as intimidating to some folks. But
Yes.
but That, that ain't my problem when it comes to this situation. I'm sorry. I'm a I'm gonna be like everybody else. I ain't asked to be here. I didn't ask you to lay down and do to bring another human being in here. So that is a responsibility, and that is something that comes a consequence of that action that comes with it. I didn't I don't remember now, you know, being up in heaven with Jesus saying, "Hey, please give me him."
I want that father.
Yeah, please. you know, I want father number one. I don't remember doing that. Now maybe I did, but when I got here, if I did that when I got here, all that memory lost is lost. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. So that leads me to the point. I guess I just felt like it was never innate for me as a parent. Me personally, I felt that I knew what I didn't want to be. I felt like I knew what I didn't want to contribute to another person. I felt like I knew that I wanted to be present, but I didn't know what the concept of parenting meant, right? Which is why, for me, I hate when friends or people who don't have kids opine upon other people's parenting, because I just feel like you don't know really until you're there in that situation. Because you can think that you are the best parent, you can think that you are providing the best opportunities, you can think that you are, setting up your child for success, and your child may behave in opposite to all of what you think you were creating, right? And so for people to opine upon relationships of parents, relationships of mother and dad, relationships of how they interact with kids, you don't know. You don't know the intimate details that goes into what's going on in that household. You know what I mean? Like there's so many pieces to this puzzle of parenting
Yeah,
that's always an unknown. I think.
I
What do you
agree.
think?
No, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Parenting is hard. Now, I I think
Tell me about it.
you and I totally have a difference of opinion parenting.
Always. Parenting or not parenting, we always have a different.
But I think we truly have a difference of a parent of a opinion parenting now, because in my view, my duty as a parent is a little different now.
To you, it's like you're done. I have a
not
break,
not
and I'm like, what you
not
mean?
done. Yes, and let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, babe. I ask this question first. First of all, do you agree with this? Because I read this from a. I was reading some stuff before this to prepare. And there's a therapist, and he wrote this long article about when to step aside as a parent, essentially.
Oh, I need to read this.
Okay, and so I'm gonna ask you this: do you agree with this concept? It says one of the most valuable gifts you can give your children is a working compass, and what he identifies as that is skills and facts that can help them succeed in school, work, play and fun, love, and intimacy. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Okay. So let me ask this. With respect to you as a parent, how do you navigate these things? Teaching your child how to resolve conflict, be assertive, manage stress, regulate their mood, and make informed decisions.
And that was too much all in one. um, man, I parenting is really hard. It's really, really hard because, for example, for me personally, I always said I'm never, never gonna raise my kid how my mom raised me because I couldn't see at that time when I would say this, I couldn't see truly what my mom was trying to do for us.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I can see it now once I had them, why she did the things that
Mm.
she did. But For example, what was the first one that you mentioned in all the ones that you
To
mentioned?
resolve conflict?
Resolve conflict. My mom never, if I had an issue, it could have been at school with a friend or anything. My mom was never the one that we could sit there and say, "Hi, mommy, this happened at school and I had this fight with my friend." And then my mom would sit there and say, "Okay, Denise, this is what you have to do." I don't remember that. I don't think I ever had that with my
But do you
mom.
think you're giving that
But with
now?
the kids,
Do
er,
you do that now with your children?
y- yes, and that's what I was gonna say. With my kids, it's different. The kids, I
Did you
think,
do that all the
I'm gonna
way, all the time?
no,
Let's be
no. It took
honest.
Davion. I didn't. I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I will accept my things, but it would take the way I was parenting, like I said, I never wanted to parent how my mom parented us, but I ended up doing that. And it wasn't until Davian one time as a kid sat and said, "You need to stop doing this because this is what you're creating. This is how you're making me feel." That I truly understood I wasn't doing things right. But now, and not now today, it's been a couple of years. Yes, I think that the kids feel comfortable enough. I think you will have to ask them. But, based on
Conversations.
what I've had an experience with them, they feel comfortable enough if they have a problem with someone to come and tell me this is what happened. And I can sit there and say, obviously there are certain things that I'm like, "Whoo, what?" Like I want to like act like if the problem was with
Mhm.
me. But I try to turn it around and be like, "No, well, this is what you may need to do and this and that." So,
So so
yes.
so I always say this, and I never really asked what you thought, but I always felt like with Davion, particularly when he was not an adult, because I think, quite frankly, he's almost legal.
He's my
He's
baby.
almost
Hmm.
legal. He's about to be 21 this year. Damn, wait. He's about to be 21 and I still fucking look
He
good.
is. Oh, Lord have
Oh,
mercy.
period. All day, every day. Cause you know what? Black don't motherfucking what? Crack. Look at that skin. All right, moving on. Okay.
Thank God he got his looks from me.
No, all my friends say he look like me. He just have your skin tone. But put that aside.
Okay.
Next. Okay, so I always say I feel like our parenting skills or our parenting style is reversed with Davion. I felt like at the early years, I was more of like the disciplinarian, like, yeah, 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 you got to do this, that, and the third, where you were more like, let's think about it, blah, blah, blah. But then I felt like close to the time that he went to middle school, it kind of reversed, where I felt like I was more willing to be listening to his side of the story and what he has to say, whereas you were more like, fuck that, this, that, and the third. What did you think about that?
I agree. And it was because remember when before he went to middle school, he was still here. And Davian was getting into things.
Yes.
And it was like, no, dude, like you cannot do those things. And you need to learn that. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it was a total shift. But I also think that it mattered, and being a single parent, let's be real, we both were single parents, even though we co-parent well. I'm that's one thing that you know, as much as I dislike you as a human being,
Give me my flowers,
I
please.
always
Thank
give
you
you
very
these
much.
flowers as an individual for co-parenting. It I think it was the easiest process of co-parenting through differences that from listening to other people's stories that you know that I've ever encountered with any of the people who I associate with, who are parents who are not together. So I always going to give you your flowers there. Period. Okay, you still fucking annoy me, right?
Hello. I got to deal with you every
Pero,
day.
pero,
Like
pero,
why?
pero, pero, pero,
Why?
pero, pero, necesito. That's all I know. Okay. Uh, pero, but I felt like, it was important for me. And what I'm getting at is when you become a single parent, there's I think, a paradigm shift that has to occur when someone is in your space all day, every day, right? Because Davion was with me for a long period of time. It was just me and him, right? I worked a lot. I had a lot going on. I was in school. Davion was with me. When I've said this story multiple times. When I was studying for the bar exam, Davion was right there helping me and my colleagues study for the bar exam. You know what I mean? Like he was there late at night, putting stickies on the wall, legal concepts. So for me, there was a paradigm shift that naturally had to occur for for me to say I needed to also take on that more nurturing, loving perspective, which I don't think is naturally my style, if that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it was a
Mm.
true shifting. And even to today, I still think you're more of a disciplinarian now than I am. I'm more of the look, if the motherfucker
Yeah, he turned 18 and you're like, whatever. I mean, he's an adult
right,
now. He can do
listen,
whatever. He's gonna learn.
listen.
And I'm like, no.
Exactly. As and I think that's also, I mean, I don't want to get into the gender thing, but I think that's also as a man, like it's only so much I could tell another man to do, right? There's certain things that you're
But this is your
I know.
son. This is not
Listen,
another
this
man. This is your
but it's still another
son.
man because I'm teaching him to be a man, to make decisions, to do the things that he needs to do. There are certain things that you're not going to do now. Now, in my household, I am the head of this motherfucker household. Now, you know, things that he wanted to bump up to, like, bruh, if you really want to go forward, we can go forward. That's how it's going to be. But but I also recognize he has to make mistakes. He has to make decisions and be able to say he's making these decisions, or else he's always going to have this, I feel like he's always going to have this resentment of, you're trying to make me this, or you're trying to make me follow these footsteps, or you know you're this, you are successful, whatever that may be, and so therefore I have to do this, and that's unnecessary stress. So for me, I always kind of cabined what I was trying to do as a parent, recognizing that, I don't know, I expected a lot, but I also wanted to give him the leeway to get there on his own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just think that I mean, times have changed, and things are not the same as they were when we were his
Mhm,
age. Things now today are worse, so sometimes I feel like, yes, he has to make his mistakes. I agree with
mhm,
that, but there's certain routes, of that you're going, that if you see that this may lead him to like real trouble, okay,
mhm.
let's make sure he understands. And I feel like you are, hey, if he's gonna get in that trouble and it's gonna be legal trouble, that's on him. And I'm like, no, we need to stop that before he even gets to the legal trouble.
No, I will disagree with that. I will sternly say that I give what I consider salient advice about things to do and not do. However, what I'm not going to do at this point in stage is sit there and worry myself to death about, okay, what is he doing right now? Oh my God, his location shows he's not at this location, this moment in space. What in the world is going on? Now that is you.
Yeah,
I'm not
but that's not what we're talking about
no,
though.
listen. Hold on, I'm not there. I'm not done.
No, because you want to take the you're taking it.
No, no,
This
no,
is
no.
no,
Listen, let me
listen to
finish. Let
me.
me finish. Let me finish. Because you made a statement, and I think there's some accuracy in your statement.
And you're
It's n-
taking it where you let me before you answer, right? I
Yes.
made a
Wow.
statement, but because I made a statement
Mhm.
about you not stopping before, now you want to turn it around and put it on me,
No, 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 no,
which
no,
is
no, no.
what you
I'm not.
always do.
No, no, no. What I am saying is, it's not that I just feel like, and I read this article earlier, and I was like, okay, well, maybe that's what I'm doing. I just feel like there's a difference from actively, what people call actively parenting, and being a parent once they reach a certain age. I feel like I can no longer be an active parent. I feel like
I
I can
agree.
parent. And so that means that I mean, say what you want to say. Maybe I'm not as like touchy glory about it. I say what I need to say. I give the advice. I say you need to think about these things, X, Y, and Z. Now, you also know your son. Your son does not like to be told anything
Like his dad, like
unless
his father.
unless he is specifically coming to you because he feels like he's like he already has the answer, but he just want to see kind of where you are coming from, and then it's like, oh, I'm using it, but it's the same fucking shit I told you 3 months ago. Right.
True.
Right. Let's just be honest. Okay, that's just the trajectory we're in at this moment. I've told Davion these things 6 months ago. I ain't doing that. That's not me, blah, blah, blah. 4 months later, the same shit I just said. But because he got in his head that he made it up,
You
now
better
he's
stop
check
talking about my child like
I
that.
know, but now he's checking in to see kind of what I think. So for me, once he turned 18 out of high school, I I actively tried to turn to that perspective of just being a parent and not actively parent.
And I
Because
cannot let that go. I'm like
yeah,
the
I know.
active parent.
Yes. But the this is the thing that it says. It says, okay, so I'm gonna read you this part. It says, okay, this is about actively parent versus being a parent. It says to actively parent one's adult children is usually unproductive and often fosters anger and resentment. This is because most adults don't like being told what to do and what not to do. So offering unsolicited advice, giving specific directions, making strong recommendations, offering even constructively intended criticism will often backfire when um when given to one's adult children. What do you think about that?
1,000% true. 1,000%. You need to send this article
I
to me
am.
because I may need to read
I
it.
I am. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I mean, and I know that you give me shit all the time. You don't care. You're just it's just like I it's only so much I can do at this point. I can't change him. I can't make him me. I can't make him do the things that I think he should do. What I certainly can do, this is my perspective, is support him. Now, obviously, if I feel like, he's just making stupid ass decisions, I'm definitely going to say something. But again, I can't force him to follow the advice. I just can't because that's a full-time job. I already have a full-time job.
Yes.
And
It's like this weekend, he came talking about, I don't know if he told you, but he's like, I'm going to the Eagles game. This is the
wait,
playoff.
the one
And I'm like, you
after the
what?
one we went to?
Today.
Oh,
The one
okay.
today.
Did he go?
And I'm like, wait, and I'm like, you're what? And he's like, wait, actually, I'm gonna read it to you because I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, no, you're not. Hold on. He's like, I might go to Philly because his job is closed on
Mhm,
Monday, which is nice. I'm glad his job is recognizing the
mhm.
holiday. He's like, my job is closed on Monday. I don't have school. Go birds. And I'm like, you need to get your car fixed. What are you talking about? I'm
Yeah,
going to
you have
Philly
priorities.
to, I'm like, you need to get your car fixed while you're up there. Because in my head, I was like, you know what? our kid is a very strong Phillies fan. So it's playoffs. They're playing in Philadelphia. Hey, this may be a good, good thing for him. But then I was like, wait, the weather's going to be bad. It's going to be snowing. So I'm like, check the weather because I think it's going to be snowing. And he's like, it is. It's going to be 3 to 5 inches, but that's going to be a hell of an experience. I'm like, sir, you're going to be stuck. He's like, it's going to snow in Philly, but it's a playoff game. And then he's like, no, wait, it's not 3 to 5 inches. It's 1 or 3. I said, Damian, regardless, it's going to be snowing while the game is on, which means when you come out of the game, how the hell are you going to come
Right.
out? You're going to be stuck in that snow. And he's like, I will figure it out. The championship game is a championship game, man. And I'm like, as your voice of reason, I say, don't do it.
Did he go?
No.
I mean, because there's other issues with that car that he needs not to be going there with until we get that taken care of.
I'm like, this boy is like crazy. Like, so imagine me just trying not to be the active parent and just, hey, he wants to go. Let's let him go. He gets stuck. Let him figure it out. Because I also told him if you get stuck, and let's say, for example, you need to spend the time over there or something happens to the car, that's money. You need to think about that. But just imagine if I wasn't the active parent, and because you probably would have said, you know what, I'm not even going to put out. What would you
Who,
have
me?
told him if he said that to you?
I would have been, I mean, the same thing I would have told him. It was a
Yeah,
stupid idea. I would have said it's a stupid idea. However, if you really want to go, go. But if something happened, don't call me. That's what I would have said.
I cannot do that. I like, dude, no, you cannot go. It's gonna be snowing. Like, you're gonna
Listen,
be
live
stuck.
your life, bro. You better make some decisions, and you
No.
better make sure whoever you're going with are people who gonna be able to help you when you need them. That's the other.
He's
Well,
going by himself. Davian is not one to be like, oh, I'm going to this game. You want to come with me?
true.
No, Davian is one that self.
Uh, Yeah, I mean, I think he also gets that piece is one of the. I think that's one of my fundamental weaknesses. Is that yeah? I think I could do everything on my own. Like think about that.
It's a
Just take
you
that
because
whole
you are just like
that
that.
that bad situation. I ordered this bad. I thought it was gonna be a little simple thing. It came in like these five ass large ass boxes. Even the movie people was like, What did you order?" And I was like, "It's a bad thing." And my sleep number is already heavy as hell because it's the one that goes up and down, moves. And I'm like, "Shit." First of all, how am I going to do all this by myself? I need to lift this bed up in order to put this bed in there. But you know what? I was like, fuck it. I ain't about to call nobody to help me. I did it all on my own. Now, was it unnecessarily long and strenuous? Yes. But I'm just like, I'm just accustomed to just like, okay, I just do the shit on myself. Because why depend on someone else when I can just do it? So yeah, he gets that from me.
Yeah, he
Um,
does. He gets a lot of things from you.
and I wish I could change that about me. I don't know. I don't know how to change that.
But see, okay, so since right,
Hmm.
that this is something about you that
Hmm.
you wish you can change, why not? Because he's just like you. Why not give him the advice of, listen, Davian, you and I are like this, and I'm gonna tell you from experience, this is not. You may want to change, the way you're thinking. You don't do that.
I don't because you know what? Even though I know it's a flaw in me, I also think it is something that makes me flourish as a human being because I feel like, particularly in this day and age, everyone needs to be around someone, or everyone needs a core group of people, or everyone needs this, that, and the third. And I just feel like it just makes me realize I can be me, I can do the things that I need to do, and I can still be happy. And so I don't know. I mean, I think there's a balancing act with that. Like I also don't want to be dependent on people because people can let you down, right? And people can that you let in, even though you may not think that that's occurring, you let people in, and then somehow they either walk away or they're no longer available, and then you're stuck in this predicament of what the fuck is wrong with me, right? And harming yourself and thinking over, because I'm an overthinker, right? And you're harming yourself while these motherfuckers are doing everything under the sun that makes them happy. So for me, I've always been a loner. So it's easier for me to just navigate through that through me versus other people, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. So does that make sense for and
Yeah,
so I
it
don't want to
does.
put that dependence. And I also think that, and I recognize that that also can be unhealthy of not having a support system, right? Um I don't know. So it's a double-edged sword for me. Um because yeah, I would like those opportunities where I can lean on someone. But I've been on my own since I was 18. And I
There we
no, I'm
go.
just saying. So for me, there's only been a handful of times that I actually leaned on someone. And um even in those few times that I leaned on someone, it made me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel like I was imposing on other people. And so for me, I always just, I don't know, I, fuck it. I'm gonna figure it out. Like I'm gonna pull my bootstraps up and do what the fuck I gotta do. Um, and and I admit it's not healthy all the time. So I don't know the right answer.
That's how he is too. Davian doesn't like depending on people. Davian is a great kid, very hardworking kid, but he's like that too. Davian is like you. Like, for example, his battery needed to be replaced, and you know what? That whole battery situation, I told him from day one when the car wouldn't start. I said, Davian, take and test your battery. And he would always, because he didn't want to listen, he will always come back and say, no, the battery is good. And I'm like, Davian, your car's not starting. I'm telling you, it's the battery. Like, and then he will come because I will keep telling him, go somewhere and have them check the of the battery. Where is it? And he will always say, one day he went and took it to get an oil change, came back and said, oh, they said my battery life was excellent. And I'm like, doubt they said that, because then why is your car not starting? Like, come on now. And then all of a sudden he comes home talking about, I need a new battery. Is saying that something gets the battery. And I'm like, well, if you got the battery, take it to a place so they could put it on. No, I'm going to do
Exactly.
this
The
myself. I
fuck?
can figure this out. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. Do it on your own. Do it on your own. And then after he does it, he comes talking about, well, I think I messed up one of the things in the bottom. I'm like, you should have listened to me. You should have taken it somewhere
No,
so they
but
could
this
do
is
it
good.
for you.
I mean, he texted me. He was telling me about this. He was like, "Yeah, we don't need to depend on." I'm paraphrasing. He was basically like,
Oh no, he
"What
said that to me too.
you
You don't
we
need a
don't need to
man.
pay. We don't need
You
nobody to do this for us. We can, you and me, we're very similar. We just when we need to get shit done,
Oh
when we get
God.
shit
Oh God. I'm so glad
when
I
we need
wasn't
shit to
there.
be done, we get it done, which is true. I mean, I'm not gonna take it away from him. That's accurate. Now, it might cause a lot of strife in the interim, but I'm gonna do what the fuck I need to do to get it done. And I
And that's
mean, but
him.
that
To the point, listen, he went to Walmart 3 times trying to find the piece, okay? Because his hand wouldn't get there. And I'm like, Davian, like, why go through all this trouble? I mean, certain things related to the car, if you want to do it yourself, yes, do it. But the battery,
I
like, take
bet
it somewhere and he's like, I'm not gonna
exactly.
be paying for labor. I'm
And I
gonna do it
support that
myself.
150%.
Whatever.
Okay. Why not just spend that time and that energy on you and that money on you?
It's different, like, in my head, right? In my head, if it was at your house that he was doing it, I feel like it's different
Mm.
because it's a garage, he has more space. He has, like, he could truly here, he was literally doing it early in the morning, and then, like, in the very, very confined spot because it's a parking spot. He had the other cars. The cars that were around him was not me. It was other
Mhm.
people's car. So he was like very limited with the space. Like,
Yeah, but
I don't know. I mean, he did it
exactly.
though. He
I
did
mean,
it.
I think those are pieces of being an adult that matters. That I think nowadays, particularly in this TikTok age of these 20 seconds, these 30 seconds, that people are not interested in expending time, energy, and investing in themselves. Other than this little, you know, social media instant gratification perspective. So I mean, I don't fault them for it. I mean, yes, I mean, let's think. When I first bought my first car in Virginia, it was a stick. I never even you could tell me how to fucking move a stick from left to right. But I bought the car and I was like, but it's a manual. I never knew how to drive a stick at all. I never been behind the wheel of a manual. But I bought the car because I liked the color of the car.
Which the same thing you did to your son. Same thing you did to your son.
I bought a stick and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And when I bought it, he was like, okay, you could drive off the lot. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know how to drive it. And so I ended up calling Dr. Sanford, my professor at the time. I was like, well, I just bought a car. He was like, okay, congratulations. But I was like, oh, but there's a manual. And then he had to come and show me how to drive it in the alleyway. We about 30 minutes. And then he was like, okay, you got to figure it out from here how to get home. And that's how I learned how to drive a stick. All right. So at the end of the day, based upon this conversation, do you think that you are going to refrain from being an active parent, or you think that that's something you can't let go?
I think I can. I think I can. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight though. Um, I still have another child. I still have another
That
kid
is
that
basically grown
I
too,
think
but
this
go ahead.
listen, this other one won't have the same patience that David has had with me. Because when I tell you these two kids are completely different, they are. Um, but yeah, I wanna read that article.
I'm
I wanna see myself in that active parent role so then I can truly then say, "Woo, girl, you need to stop doing that."
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm going to send it to you. Yeah, it's a good article, and I know that we tend to have disagreements um, about things, but and I know it comes off as if I don't care. I care a lot, but I also recognize the only thing that I can do is be supportive for things that I think I can support, but also indicate the things I don't support. But say at the end of the day, that's your decision. And I do think part of being a parent is setting boundaries. I know that's a cliche word that people like to use, but for parenting, for me, setting boundaries mean that there are certain things that as a parent, I'm just not going to do, right? For instance, criminal activity. Okay. We can talk about that all day long. I'm telling you, if this happens, this is going to be my reaction because those are boundaries that I am setting because I have set you up for success in my head. I haven't placed you in a situation where you don't have the ability to get things that you need, right? You didn't grow up the way I grew up, right? I ensured that. I ensure that you can come to me if you need X, Y, and Z. If I can provide it, I'm going to provide it. Even if I can't provide it and I don't think you need it, then I'm going to tell you why because it's my money at the end of the day. So, I feel like I'm in that situation currently where I can do that, but I set those boundaries. So there are certain things that Davion knows that if he gets into, I'm going to wash my hands to it. You
Same
may
here.
not like it. I'm talking
I've
about
told
you.
him too, though. No, I've told him anything criminal, don't even call me.
Yeah,
It's a no.
I'm just there are certain things I'm just not going to involve myself in because I invested enough to avoid those type of situations. Now, if as a parent, you never know what happens when those things come, right? So that's just kind of where I am as a parent. It's like I am more taking the approach of um I'm a parent by now, and right now I'm just trying to be a supportive parent, not an active parent, because I can no longer adjust his. I don't know. It's just like at some point you have to let it loose. I just think I don't know. That's just me. I mean,
Well,
think about
active
animals.
parents in the house.
Think about lions,
Oh
right?
Lord.
No, seriously. After a while, the lion, the cub lion, after they get a certain age, they have to get out and go and do their and establish their own. And I think when you look at animals, right? Because technically we're animals, there is an element of that comes with that. There is a certain age where they have to get out and go and establish their own pride or go and establish their own self. And as long as I'm always there, that's a crutch that I think can be used negatively and positively. And
I mean, I agree
oftentimes,
with that.
oftentimes I think it's used negatively, but I just think I've given you everything. This is your opportunity to soar. Like I'm pushing you off of the branch, and if you can't fly, that's because you haven't been using the lessons that I've been trying to put in place for you for these years to allow you to fly. So this is where I'm at personally.
Hey, active parent in the house. I am going to try to work and not to be, you know, that much of an active parent. Keyword that much because you can't change overnight.
You
It's a
cannot.
process. It's a process.
And
So
and there is no right or wrong answer on how to be a parent. And I just think being a parent is complicated and it's an ever evolving door
mhm.
and learning each other as people grow. And one thing that we didn't touch on is, when you have an adult child living with you, right?
That could be a topic for,
Another one.
I I think we could try to convince him to participate so he could give the input as the child.
Yeah.
'Cause he's gonna
Hey,
say, "I get on his nerves," but whatever.
I mean, I get on his nerves too, but ask me, do I give a fuck? Because I don't. I mean, I'm just gonna tell you. Look, I've been around here long enough to know what you doing is some bullshit, and I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna leave it. Now, you know, last time he was here, we had a conversation. I told him what I felt. He got all of his feelings, and then a little later, he came and talked to me. He was like, "Yeah, you right. Yeah, I know I'm fucking right. Like, I don't need like I know I'm right. Like, there are certain things that I'm telling you, not because I'm trying to force you to do X, Y, and Z. I'm trying to avoid you experience something that you don't need to experience if you can't avoid it. That's it. Like, so yeah, parenting is very difficult. But I do think having a conversation about because a lot of folks are still living with their parents who are 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Um and I haven't lived with my mom since I was 18. And so I don't have that same perspective. You know what I mean? I don't know what that means and what that feels like. Because I've always been a hustler. I've always been on my own. I've always, you know what I mean? I don't know. And I'm not saying that's the right route at all, but yeah. But that's all I got to
Yeah,
say
some
about it.
people have it in them, some people don't.
Yeah. And circumstances have changed. Some people feel more
Yeah.
comfortable with just saving their money and spending it on this, that, and the third, and having no responsibility. I don't know, but it is what it is, and I'm not shaming anyone. All right. So that is the episode. I'll give you the last word in a moment before we completely end on this topic, but I want to put this out. For those of you who are looking, our website there is www.peepscreek.com. You can send us conversation emails or complaints at cafe@peepscreek.com. You can look at the video if you are so inclined to do so on YouTube at Peeps Creek Podcast. Of course, we are, and we're not active because I don't really do that much anymore. But we are
And
on
TikTok is no longer there.
Instagram, X, Instagram, potentially TikTok if we still have TikTok, Twitch at peepscreek.com, Facebook, Peeps Creek Cafe. Sorry, I just realized that I actually had my old Instagram handle, but it used to be the Saxon Heart, but now it is Audible Elixir on Instagram. And of course, Denise is. Are you still this?
Yeah.
Puerto Rican lady. But Puerto Rican is not really spelled Puerto Rican. It's P-Recon. Lid Y.
Lord have mercy.
All right. So I'm going to let you close it out on this topic of episode 91. Parenting. Is it over yet? What's your last words? Say ye.
Parenting is never
Denise.
over. Parenting is never over. It is okay to be an active parent. Just listen to your kid. Don't overwhelm them. And like Sean said, what we've discussed here today is just what has worked for us and what we've experienced. It's not it's not everybody else's experience, or we're not trying to tell, people to do what we've done. I think not everybody, I think a lot of individuals do the best they can to parent and to bring up their kids. So, hey, whatever works for you, just continue doing that.
Period. There is no other way to end the episode other than to say that. All right. And so until next time, I'm Sean. Boom, boom, boom. Bam, bam, bam. Pow, pow, pow. It has been a pleasure here in 2025 to be back into the excitement of podcasting again. I don't know how often we're going to do this because brother be busy, but yeah, I'm excited to be back. All right. And then Denise, anything you want to say to the folks? I mean, even though I made your picture large, you are very
Hopefully I don't get stuck.
and you're very pixelated, but we're going to deal with it anyway. Go ahead. Tell the people.
No, nothing. Just Happy New Year. Like you mentioned, hopefully we get to do this more often because you are extremely busy. But nothing. It's been a pleasure like always.
All right. All right. So until next time, why? I thought this. Hold up. Why did it take away our little curves? Let me do this. Oh, because I went to that one. All right. Until next time, make sure that you continue to drink, listen, and converse. Peace and love.